Well, good morning, everybody. Back out here at the farm, trying to get the rest of this pond dug out. It's turning out good so far. Y'all gonna have to let me know how the microphone and everything does. I went with some of y'all's advice and got a microphone, an external mic. It's the Rode wireless go-to. So give it a shot, see if it clears anything up for everybody. Right now we're basically trying to get all this muck cleaned out, get this pond done. So I'm gonna jump in the traco here. He's pushing it up there with a dozer, and we're gonna try to get the rest of this muck dug out and get this pond done. This front little detention pond. I'm a little under the weather right now, so you'll have to bear with me here. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get this traco fired up and get to shifting a little bit of this muck. And I'll set you guys up here and let you watch. All right, folks. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Got the majority of this stuff cleaned out while I was here working this morning, and then the lady from TDOT sent me some files that I had to go take care of, sign, and do. So it was a little bit of poor timing, but just had to docu-sign some stuff for the permit for my entrance, where I can hopefully get the entrance put in, because I really need to get the compactor in here at some point, because I've got to have it to construct the dam down there. Got to have that's just something it just really ensures that you actually can have a good chance of sealing your pond off if you run the compactor and compact all your lifts and do everything you need to do. With that LGP, the big wide blade, it's probably the trench will probably be wide enough where I could mash it with the truck, but seems like I have better luck with ponds if I, use a compactor and compact the lifts in like you're kind of supposed to with that pad foot. Just kind of, I don't know. Seems like to me it just compacts everything a lot better. Well, and something a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, you can compact that way. But there's a lot of geotechs that that will fail a compaction test if you compacted it like that, because it's when you compact with a big heavy truck like that, it kind of, if you can envision a tire running over uncompacted soil, what's that, that soil is not gonna stay all in one spot. It's going to kind of shoot out both sides of the tire, if that makes sense. So what you're really doing is you're compacting one small area with that tire, but it's actually shooting uncompacted soil out both sides of the tire, and so it, for some reason, you won't get as good a compaction as you need, and it'll end up failing you because you don't realize that you're not getting a good enough compaction. we rolled in some lifts, some building pads down in Nashville when I was working down there, and we got in trouble by the soil guy, because evidently that's a big no-no for commercial stuff. So, which I don't really understand, but I guess I get it. What's going gonna be a weirdly, kind of a weirdly shaped pond, but I couldn't really do much about it because I needed I needed to just get all the wet area out. You know, it wasn't like I wanted to really shape it this way. Golly, I'm sinking. It wasn't that I wanted to shape the pond this way, it's just kind of the way it laid out. Just basically had to find all the wet, mucky area and try and get rid of it, because it really served no purpose. You know, it was just going to be a spot that I couldn't maintain and couldn't keep mowed, and you know, I'd ended up stuck in here all the time with a bush hog or mower, you know, whatever. So I just elected to dig a pond and get rid of all of it. I think it's going to be pretty. It kind of screwed up my thoughts for my entrance, which I'm gonna kind of start building the road a little bit today. Kind of let you guys see kind of what's going on, but gonna have to put kind of a S curve in it, if you will, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it'll be fine. I'm gonna use all this kind of nastier pond material, and kind of, you can see where the road drops off up there. Just kind of fill up next to the road and make it, you know, more maintainable. That way I can keep it mowed and just kind of fill in a low area there that's not a very appealing looking place. I don't like the way it lays in there, so I'm gonna fix it. But I gotta wait till TDOT gets me a permit. They're supposed to have me one soon. It's going through legal right now. They're getting all their signatures and everything they need to try and give me a permit. You gotta play ball with the state. They don't play with you. They'll bust your head if you're not careful. Dad's out here helping me in the 6N, getting everything pushed up to me. The bottom of the pond's good and hard now, so got down to that silty layer of clay. This big rascal, it'll sink out of sight, this big traco, if you walk out there on this stuff. So I've had to kind of stay on the edges and dig it out. Try to keep pushing the material up here to me. Probably going to end up having to get a couple of old 2 or 3 crushed cars, more than likely, is the plan. I'll be glad to get this pond dug out, get it all cleaned up here, make it look better. It's been a disaster for forever. I haven't had time to get out here and really set in on it, which it kind of worked out, because all this dirt that I've been digging out, I knew I wasn't going to be back for like a week, so I've just been digging it out, kind of spreading it out. That way when I come back, the dirt's a little drier. actually do something with it. This stuff's not bad. It's a little wet, but it's way drier than some of the stuff I've dug out. Back up, try to back up some here. That's a fine bulldozer right there. I really like that 6N. That's a pushing mamma jamma there. That old pond dirt, that old rotten, stinky pond dirt. Boy, that stuff stinks. Now my nose is stopped up and it's leaking into my nose. It's awful. Have to raise that up down there. May end up coring it out, building a little baby pond dam down there. I'm not really sure yet. I got to shoot some grade and kind of get an idea of what my elevation needs to be down there. That way the water level's, you know, somewhat close up here. I don't want to have a, you know, a janky water edge, if that makes sense. I'd like a good clean reveal all the way around. But I'm a little limited down there because of the property line is those trees, or that big poplar tree right there. That's the property line, so I can only raise the dam so high down there, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I may end up just bringing the core up, you know, in front of that big poplar tree there, where I can have it higher, where the water line will be a little better revealing down there. I'll play with it. I'll make it look good. I was just trying to dig the muck out down there when I was down there, and ended up getting a little too far down the hill. Boy, it's wet and yucky right there. I think that spot that's staying so wet right there, I think that's where the water's coming out of the ground. I hope this microphone's doing a good job. I don't know much about them. I turned it on and saw that I had signal, that it was picking up my voice with the microphone, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay, but well, I guess time will tell when I go to edit this video this evening. Back to squeaking again. I don't know what it is. Aggravates me. It almost sounds like a cylinder, like a dust seal on a cylinder. I gave this thing a good greasing last time I was out here, so. Oh boy. Still pretty, still decently wet right here. Not overly fond of that. Trying to get the dozer down to something somewhat solid on this slope. That way he can get it, you know, trimmed out, and he can just push the excess up there. I'm just trying to kind of bulk it out for him, where he doesn't have so much material to move. Still pretty wet right there. Alright guys, we'll finish getting this cleaned up, and I'll turn this camera back on here in just a minute and kind of show you guys what's going on. Alright folks, while Dad's up there cleaning the rest of that up, I came down here and I'm cleaning down the property line here, working my way down here to the bottom. This is about the last bit of clearing I have on the property. Other than that in there, but that's all super wet. So I'm just gonna set you guys up here on the machine here and let you, kind of watch how I clear and do, and just getting over here to this property line's all I'm doing. But I'll take you back up there in a little while whenever he gets that cleaned up and kind of show you the somewhat end result. It'll be roughed in for a little while until I get my road built and kind of make it all lay in there the way I want. But I'll set you guys up here on the front of the machine and let you watch. Well, folks, I don't really know how much of that you guys saw. I just got out here, just got finished up, and saw that the GoPro turned off because it got too hot. But I got the fence row cleaned up all the way down to my property line here. The dam's gonna go somewhere right in there, I'd say. I may scoot it out just a little bit more. It's basically where I have enough room to lay this slope down good, where I can mow it with a mower and keep it maintained, looking good. But yeah, guys, this is the future pond site here. If you can envision a big dam going across through here, kind of dig that out, dig out along through there, and just make a big nice pretty pond here. But guys, that's gonna wrap up my clearing right now. I'm gonna stack all this stuff up, and I'm gonna get you a little video up there of the end product when he gets done. And we may start trying to build me a little road up through there, and when T-Dot gets me a permit, we'll put my entrance in and try to get the compactor down here and get started on this pond. All right, folks, we've had a pretty good day today. Just got everything filled up. Everything was just about low on, just about out of fuel. Got this front pond pretty much done. Let it dry a little bit more, and we'll try to clip it one more time. This material is just really wet. Hard to make it look nice when it's that wet. It leaves little ruts down there in the bottom. But I'm gonna raise that bottom up down there a little bit to try to make the water line match up here. I don't know how I'm gonna do it just yet. I may end up bringing the core, just building me a dam across through there, and just filling that in with nasty pond dirt. Is what I may end up doing, just to make the water level match around through here, because it just gets too far down the hill down there, and that big poplar tree there is the property line, so I can't really raise it up high enough to make the water line up here match. So that's probably what I may end up doing. I'm gonna need a place to put pond dirt anyway. I got all that cleared down through there. What else? Oh, I got the borrow pit ready. We hauled 3 or 4 loads up there to the road. Weren't really supposed to, but I need to get my compactor in here, and I can't unload a sheep foot compactor in the middle of a state road. They'll frown upon that. They're going to frown upon that probably, because I have my permit, but they haven't issued it to me yet. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm going to try to get the compactor out here tomorrow and set in digging the core trench and start moving dirt. So that's the goal for tomorrow. I got everything ready that I need to get ready today. Hopefully we'll start coming up out of the ground with that core trench tomorrow, if we're lucky. But guys, that's a wrap on this video. Hopefully the microphone has been good today, and y'all could hear me okay. Like I said, I'll find out when I edit this video tonight whether it was good or not. But yeah, that's a wrap on this one, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. If you made it this far, drop me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel if you're liking what you're watching, and we will see you guys on the next one.